Welcome back. As we continue in Unit C, we're going to talk about implementing an ID selector in your cascading style sheets, your internal style sheets. In the last lesson, we built a style rule using name-value pairs that applied to everything that was in a specific element. In the case of the last lesson, we were actually applying it to the body element. In this lesson, we're going to talk about how to take a very specific portion, a unique portion of a page, an HTML code segment that we want to apply a rule or a style to. We're going to continue on the same file we were using it on the previous lesson. If you have it open, you're all set. I'm going to reopen mine. I'm going to go to Unit C, to the Lessons folder, and take a look at the file we were working on. Should look very familiar to you. What we're going to do is in step 2, we're going to actually go down to the paragraph tag within the footer, and this is the opening tag just before basically the address or the contact information for the organization. We're going to type in the words ID equals contact. So what we've done is we've said that this entire area between the start tag, which the ID is being placed into, the start P tag, and the end P tag, has an identifier. And it's really important to understand this is a unique identifier named contact. Now, you may think that somehow the word contact is related to the information that's down in that section, and it's not. It's just what we happen to call it. We could have called the ID blah, and as long as it was a unique ID, it still would have worked. Of course, naming IDs with something that's intuitive, something that makes sense, is going to be helpful going forward, both for you and for other people who look at your code in the future. So what we've done is we've taken this segment, and it is now known to the HTML code and to the style we're building as a segment identified as contact. Again, one more time, I want to emphasize that an ID is unique. We cannot set up two pieces of code within an HTML file with the same ID. That'll break things. It's kind of like a driver's license number. A driver's license number is unique. No two people can have the same driver's license number. In a specific HTML page, no two segments of code can have the same ID. Now, multiple pages on the same website could have a section of code with the same ID. So far, what we've done is we've taken a specific segment of code and we told the HTML we're going to call this segment of code with an ID contact. Now, what are we going to do with that information? We're going to go up to the style segment of our code and we're going to create a new style rule. Specifically, we're going to create a style rule that starts with a pound symbol, and then we're going to continue with the word contact. Now, the pound symbol simply tells the web browser, as it parses the code, to say, hey, this is going to be related to a specific ID area of code, and then we give the name of the ID. Then we're going to start a curly brace, and your book will tell you that you're going to have to eventually put a closing curly brace, but again, Aptena already takes care of that for you. In the middle of the two curly braces, we're going to set up the rule that applies to the segment of code we've identified with the ID contact. And we're going to do this right now, again with a name-value pair, and we're going to use the name text align. And you should remember that's similar to what we used up above in the body rule. In that case, we said text align left, so everything within the body was aligned to the left, at least all the text. In this case, we're going to make the value for this name value rule or name value pair to be right. Now, before you actually save this and look at the page, think about what you believe will happen here. If we align all the text that's within the body tag to the left, that means everything that shows up on the page will be left. But then there's a new rule that comes into play, and it says for anything that is within the ID contact, we're going to make that align to the right. So what do you think will happen here? Let's actually save the file and take a look. What's happening here is the majority of the code uses the first rule. In fact, everything within the body tag has the first rule applied to it. It says align everything to the left. You may ask, well, then why is part of it to the right? Well, we aligned everything to the left, then we applied a new rule on top of that that said this particular segment, the segment that is identified with the word contact, we are going to align to the right. And this is the end result. This is also the end of this lesson. Now let's move on to the next lesson.